Does this look familiar? That's right, we're going to be doing another lift ranking for Copper Mountain. If you don't remember, I had a Copper Mountain lift ranking 3 years ago, but it is now outdated because during that first trip in 2021, the entire backside wasn't open. As of 2025, I've been on every single chairlift at Copper Mountain, including the backside ones, so it makes sense to re-rank the lifts because I've got every single one of them. This time, I'm going to be doing a tier list instead of worst to best. Now, without further ado,
Rides, and this is a lift ranking for Copper Mountain.
Alpine. This 1979 Yan double serves a large pod of advanced and expert terrain on the eastern side of the resort. Triple Treat's my favorite run in this pod because I like how it starts off fairly mellow at the top, but as you go further down to the bottom, it gets steeper, and I really love that. I haven't done the Glades, but I bet those would be even crazier than the ones on Morningside. If I was doing a list like I did last time, this lift would be much higher than when I placed it 3 years ago. Alpine's gonna get a 4.5 out of 5.
American Eagle. This Leitner Poma 6.8 Chondola is one of two main out-of-base lifts in the center village and replaced an older high-speed quad in 2018. This lift serves several intermediate runs on the center side, and you have the choice between a 6-person chair or an 8-person gondola. Naturally, the chair line moves faster as there's a 4-to-1 ratio between a chair and cabin. Because this is one of the main access lifts out of the center base, the lines can get pretty long in the morning and early afternoon, but they clear up around the end of the day. And you can also access Excelerator and the East Village base from the top of this lift. This gets the lift a 3 out of 5.
American Flyer. This 2018 Leitner Poma high-speed Bubble 6 starts at the center village base and ends below the Union Peak summit. From the top, you can go down to the West Village via Soliloquy, or you could enter the back bowls via Rendezvous or Sierra/Celebrity Ridge. That's more options than American Eagle. Like American Eagle, I feel like I put this lift a little too high up on my list last time. Looking back, this is a lift that I would only take once or twice, primarily to get out of the base area. It's not really lappable because it's long and it also gets slammed, but it is a little bit better than American Eagle, so I'm going to give this lift a 3.5 out of 5.
Blackjack. One of the main lifts in the back bowls, this Yan double previously ran as Lift I where Timberline Express is, before moving to its current location in 1995. This is one of two lifts servicing the Copper Bowl area, the other being Mountain Chief. Overall, I see this lift primarily as egress back to the front side as it ends at the top of Rendezvous, but there are some really challenging runs off this lift. If you're looking for a true endurance test, Three Bears is right next door. This lift will get a 4 out of 5.
Celebrity Ridge. This Doppelmayr platter lift was built in 2013 to replace a short hike from below the top of Sierra up to the top of Mountain Chief. I don't really have that much to say about this lift other than being a shortcut from Sierra up to the back bowls. The lift does its function, sometimes gets put on wind hold every once in a while, and that's that. This lift is going to get a 2 out of 5. Accelerator. This 1998 Poma high-speed quad is wicked fast and wicked short, but man is it good. I mostly do ptarmigan, but Mind Dump stands out as a run that's filled with moguls and that goes through the trees. I hadn't done that in a while. You can also reach Storm King from the top of this lift. For me, a trip to Copper Mountain isn't complete without doing at least one lap on this lift. This guy gets a 5 out of 5. Gem. This 1972 Heron Poma platter is one of the beginner lifts on the Green Acres side. Platter lifts like this aren't the most beginner friendly because 1, not everybody is good at using them, and 2, they aren't exactly the most comfortable for beginners. In my world, this lift would be much better if it was a conveyor lift with a tunnel. It would appeal to a much bigger audience, and overall it would just be less intimidating than this. This lift is going to get a 2 out of 5. Kokomo Express. This 2017 Doppelmayr high-speed quad is one of the main beginner chairlifts on the west side of the resort and has a smaller terrain park. This isn't the best out-of-base chairlift because you have to take Lumberjack to Timberline to really get going anywhere. Woodward's a little more direct. I'm not really a park rat, but because these features are pretty small, that's where I'll go so that eventually I'll feel comfortable with the bigger features. I like to call this lift Slocum because of the speed, but I feel like the speed is just right for the beginner skier. It is not too fast, but not too slow either. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Mountain Chief. I really did not feel the need to talk about Lumberjack because it took so flipping long to get all the way up to the top. Bro, what the heck? Stop interrupting me!
Hold up, where Lumberjack at? Yeah, I'm new, but I can't believe, see what I did there? Can't, that I don't see a Lumberjack on here. Bruh, you're doing this alphabetically, and you mean to tell me it's gonna take twice as long to make this segment?
It will not. It will be no longer than a minute like all of my other segments. Now get out of here. Scram. Go. Scat.
Oh, alright then. Suit yourself. Meow.
Alright, fine. Lumberjack, Palma Triple, 1981. Long, slow, tedious, flat. Enough said. This video is from December 2021, and yes, this was sped up 2 times, so in real life, this was going much slower. I don't know what was going on. I do not have the patience for something like that again. Unless they revamp this and give it the high-speed treatment, you will not see me riding this chairlift again. I got 2 nicknames for this sucker. Slumberjack and Lumber Slack. It has so much potential, and if they go forward with the 6-pack replacement, it would actually be a better beginner lift than Kokomo. But until then, nah, this ain't it. This lift will be getting a 1. Fix that. Mount Chief. Finally, we're out of this Lumberjack mess. Anyway, this is another 1995 Yan double chair on the backside, serving steeper and more exciting slopes than Blackjack. This lift is not for the faint of heart. If you want to go back into the backside, you'll be greeted with a very steep drop-off to start. And when you go off that drop on a powder day, oh, it feels wonderful. Matchless is my favorite because I like the way it mellows out towards the bottom so that you're not going too fast and out of control. In the future, when I go into the back bowls, provided that Celebrity Ridge is open, I will be going down the Mountain Chief way. It is that fun. 5 out of 5. Pitchfork. This 1979 Heron Palma double is another lift in the Green Acres side of the resort. It's a little more beginner friendly than Gem in that it's a chairlift, but again, the setup just isn't ideal. When it's a double chair, you can only have 1 beginner and 1 instructor ride in the same chair. However, if the entire Green Acres section was revamped, the Gem lift would be a conveyor belt, as I mentioned earlier, but this lift would be much better if it was a fixed grip quad with a loading conveyor, so that way you can have multiple beginners and 1 instructor riding in the same chair. Molly Haugen at Arapahoe Basin is a great example, even though it doesn't have a loading conveyor. This lift will get a 2.5 out of 5. Rendezvous. This 1982 Yan Triple is one of the lifts to get into the backside, and Blackjack ends at the same place as this lift. The terrain off of this lift, outside of going into the back bowls, is not that great because it's kind of flat. If I had to choose between this lift and Sierra to get into the back bowls, I would choose Sierra. It's a little faster, and it's much more exciting. Rendezvous is going to get a 3.5 out of 5. Resolution. This 1985 Yan Triple opened up a new bowl expansion at the time, and it is full of advanced and expert mogul runs. To get to runs like Cabin Chute, Sawtooth, Highline, and Hodson's Cut, you have to take a double black diamond slope. You could also take a hike to Boardwalk and ski Marvin Garden and Park Place from there, all of which are single blacks, but you'll be running into a double black diamond called Spalding Glades. So there's no getting around double black diamonds in this terrain pod. This is one of the most serious leg-burning terrain pods I've ever experienced, and that 10-minute ride is honestly for the best. The lift is going to get a 4.5 out of 5.
Sierra. This 1983 Yan Triple starts at the base of Rendezvous and ends below the summit of Union Peak. While it's mainly used to access the Union Peak side of the resort, this lift is also home to some intense advanced runs and steep glades on the upper front side. While you'll still have to take Celebrity Ridge to get to the true summit of Union Peak, the runs this lift serves do not mess around, earning the lift a 4 out of 5. Storm King, a true balance test of a lift. This 2013 Doppelmayr T-Bar services the Spalding Bowl area of Copper and provides some of the most photogenic views. If you're a fan of sheer speed, Hallelujah Ridge and Spalding Ridge are right up your alley. As for the lift itself, you don't sit down. If you're a skier, you stay standing, let the T rest against your bum, and it will pull you up to the top. However, if you're a snowboarder, you'll have to stand sideways and put one side of the bar between your legs. If you mess up during the ride, you may as well head back to the bottom because bye-bye goes your ride. This lift gets a perfect 5 out of 5. Super B. This 1998 Poma High Speed 6 is the main lift out of the East Village base and services several intermediate and advanced runs on the east side of the resort. Andy's Encore is my favorite trail in this pod as it's not too moguly, but also not too flat either. The lower half of the line is home to some awesome advanced trails like Rosie's Run and Overload, and there are also a few glades in that area. Also, this is one of the main access points to Resolution and Storm King. Another nice thing I like about this lift is that because it's geared towards intermediate and advanced skiers, the lift rarely slows and stops, so the line moves relatively fast. This lift will get a 4.5 out of 5. Three Bears. This 2019 Lightner Poma Triple was built to bring lift service to Tucker Mountain for the first time, starting near the bottom of Blackjack. Serving almost exclusively double black runs, with the exception of Summit Stash, this lift is a true endurance test. And from the top, the views of the nearby mountains are absolutely spectacular. As for the lift, you're going to need a long ride to rest your legs, as many of the runs will give you a good workout. My only gripe with this lift is that it sometimes gets put on hold for avalanche mitigation because of its exposed location, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this lift has the single most challenging terrain at the resort. 5 out of 5.
Timberline Express. This 2024 Lightner Poma High Speed 6 replaced an older high speed quad and is in one of the most popular intermediate terrain pods at Copper, closer to the West Village. Copperfield, Windsong, and the Boz are some of my favorites in that pod. They either go through the trees or are straight shots down. I've been on it when it was still the old quad, and it didn't always run full speed, but when I rode this lift for the first time, and it ran full speed, I was pleasantly surprised. And to top it off, I only waited at most 5 minutes on the day that this video was taken. Granted, this doesn't always happen, there are still some long lines every once in a while, but this lift has been pumping and pumping and pumping people out very consistently and hardly slowing down, which is amazing. As promised in the How Does It Stack Up video, here is the final score of this lift. It will be a 4 out of 5.
Woodward Express. This 2011 Doppelmayr high-speed quad is the main lift out of the West Village base, and is home to several terrain parks, including the famous Woodward Central Park. This is the primary access point to Timberline Express, but you can also get to the other base areas from the top of this lift as well. It sometimes has a tendency to slow or stop as it's geared towards beginners, but it isn't as excessive as some of the other beginner out-of-base lifts I've ridden, which keeps the lines moving at a steady pace. This lift gets a 3.5 out of 5.
At this point, it's safe to say that our list is fully complete. It took us a little over 3 years to get every single lift at Copper, but it was for sure worth it. A good majority was filmed in December 2021, one was filmed in March 2024, and the rest were filmed in February/March of 2025. Some of the lifts were kind of hit or miss, but that may have been just poor timing. I hope you all enjoyed this newly revised ranking of the lifts at Copper Mountain. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you enjoyed this video better than the previous one that I did years ago. Ski season is a ways to go, and I hope to speak with y'all again very soon. Bye for now.